Keyboard Maestro.
All right.
That's the first thing they're going to see. Boom.
Yes.
That's the first thing they're going to see. Okay, I'm going to mute
Everyone.
all this. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone. It looks like we're with 20 people at the moment. So thank you for watching live. My name is Ramses. I'm together with Beau Haan. We are two Roam nerds. So if you're not familiar with either of us, we hope to teach you a thing or two. Actually, Beau is probably going to teach you a thing or two. I am being the student today. And yeah, we're doing this under the RoamStack umbrella. And why is that? Because we just want to promote good tools that will help you to save time, that will help you to make your life easier. And starting from Roam as a tool for knowledge work and thinking, I would say, it really is a great starting point to start thinking about, okay, what else is possible? So today we're going to look at Keyboard Maestro. We have no affiliation with Keyboard Maestro. Actually, Beau told me about it a few weeks ago and I started to check it out. It's like, holy shit, this is really cool. So yeah, we'll be having a look at the chat. And I am going to facilitate the session while Beau is just going to show some awesomeness, I would say. So if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. I will keep an eye on it and I will feed Beau questions and hopefully keep us a little bit on track.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Are you saying you have a plan? We have an agenda?
We have no plan. We have no plan. But
throw it all away.
Maybe. I mean, people probably already familiar with RoamStack, so I'm not going to pitch it too much. But maybe you can tell a little bit about yourself and how you came to Roam.
Of course. Well, first off, I want to thank you, Ramses, for being such a bright pillar in the community. It's like, you know, I'm one of those people that signed up for the Believers Plan before even using the app. And, you know, I've seen all the different iterations of this community. And for me, it's just to watch you be this hub of information to me is like, oh, yes, you know, I'm not the only crazy one who believes in this note-taking tool. So thank you for that. Again, I'm Beau Haan. You know, my big thing is, you know, if you ask a different question, you get a different answer. And especially in regards to Zettelkasten, for me, it was everyone else was sort of approaching it from this page level analog way of working and utilizing the technology that Roam offers. I just asked a different question. I go, instead of looking at things as pages and index cards, what if we looked at it at the block level? What if the granularity was at the block? And with that, you know, I've been on this journey sort of, you know, leading Roam book clubs and now getting to this point where, I mean, look at the digs, you know, and this is all in order to provide the most frictionless way of teaching this simple note-taking system with this simple note-taking tool. And to me, that's just one of my passions. And yeah, and I figured there's something about navigating in regards to how quickly I can write is one of the vital, I think, points in regards to actually note-taking. If there's friction when I'm attempting to click here and figure out what this does and how do I move up a block or down a block, what happens is then it's like that little bit of friction that prevents me from getting into that really flow state where I don't think about anything but the writing. And that's one of the things that Sonke would always say. It's like, you know, you want to forget about the tool and you want to focus on the writing. So again, I did post into the chat here, by the way, the shared graph, a link to the shared graph. There is no on track. Hey, Tracy, Andy, everyone, Patrick. So I think
I don't see a
as
link,
well.
by the way.
I put it in the chat. Let me post it again.
Yeah.
How about that? Did that come up? No, it's not coming up. That's odd.
Well, maybe I can put it in the description so people can.
Sure.
So if you
Sure.
give it to me.
Yeah. I'll give it to you in the Zoom chat here.
Yeah.
And boom, boom, boom. Okay, cool. So again, I kind of want to talk a little bit about what is Keyboard Maestro. So for me, when I first started using Roam, I was looking for a way to quickly, again, I'm not a tech guy at all. Like I'm the furthest thing away from that. I'm a trained actor, and it's like I was living in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, and that's what I know. So getting into like note-taking tools and keyboard maestros and macros, to me it's been fascinating. But again, I know that there's so much more depth underneath what I've been able to sort of gather. So again, Keyboard Maestro to me was a solution to the problem that I was having in regards to, I wanted to be able to navigate without sort of lifting my hands off of the keys, without leaving the mouse. This is sort of my instrument. This is my instrument. These are my instruments in regards to frictionlessly writing, and I knew that if I had hotkeys and short keys available, that I could navigate even faster or even more efficiently. Again, Keyboard Maestro, first off, it's only for Mac, unfortunately. And I know there's other there's other Mac tools available, like Alfred. Alfred recently just got updated, so you can do a lot of the things that we're doing here with Alfred. You have Better Touch tool as well. And then you also have Windows alternatives, which I'm not familiar with, like Auto Hotkey, Text Expanders, and even Mac OS and iOS. I mean, you have different ways of sort of customizing sort of keyboard shortcuts as well, which I kind of want to walk through as well. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And what I want to do is I'm going to, before I share my screen. Yeah.
Beau, you gave me a link and I've put it in the chat, so probably only I am able to post links.
Yes.
Hopefully people can see it in the chat. It's a link to the help database. Is that correct?
No, it's a shared graph it's a public Roam graph that I host.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a help graph. Okay.
I just happen to call it help. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. Can you see? So this is gonna be the system preferences menu inside of Mac OS.
Wait. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. I can.
Okay.
I was just checking, with the latency, but I can see your screen, and people can also see your screen. Yeah.
So if you go into the system preferences, you go into keyboard. A lot of people already know this little trick, but if you go into the keyboard settings and you go to the modifier keys, you can actually, because how often do you actually use the sort of caps lock key, right? And so what I do is I actually have this caps lock key as a modifier, and so what I have it set as, you can have it on different sort of modifier keys. I have it on option, and you're gonna understand why I have it on option as we go along. But you can do it on, like, I know Connor and the rest of the Roam team, they actually prefer control. But again, I have a specific use case where I need the option button to be the caps lock key. And so again, keyboard, system preferences, modifier keys, and you can change your caps lock key. You can change all the other keys as well if you wanted to.
Wait, so you've changed the caps lock key to option because of Roam?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I have. Yes, because to me, there's something about frictionlessly writing that is vital. And, if I ever need to do the caps lock, I just hold the shift button and, type away. How often do I really use the caps lock key? You also have shortcuts for text snippets here in the system preferences. So again, you can, so if I do YT, it'll actually create a little emoji. So again, these are small little hacks that you can do inside of Mac OS in regards to sort of hotkeys and keyboard shortcuts. Now, I'm gonna stop sharing here for a second. I also wanna emphasize this idea that this does things that I need. This does things that I like. And I think for anything to be viable, for anything to actually work long term, it has to form fit to the individual. And I think that's one of the key points that I wanna emphasize as well. I'm just showing you what works for me. How you take that and make it form, fit, and wrap to your needs, specific needs, is the process that I hope I can help bridge by giving you some of these examples. I hope that's coming off clear. So there's a couple of things before going through Keyboard Maestro, and that's going to be just Roam's hotkeys itself. Let me go ahead and do this. I am going to open up. I'm going to go and open up Roam. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And you can see, correct? Is there any questions at all?
No questions yet.
Okay.
And I am just switching screens. Right.
What I want to walk through next is just going to be. Okay, I don't know what's taking so long. Let me go ahead and X out of that. I'm just going to close that. I'm going to open Safari. Oh, there we go. We're in. I don't know what's going on. Just cancel. Oh, there it goes. I'm just gonna use Safari for now. I mean, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and.
Well, it's good that you're using a tool that works on OS level and not some kind of extension.
Exactly.
I know there's if you really want basic text expansion capabilities, I think there's this cool tool called TextBlaze, which is a Chrome plugin. But obviously, then you'll have a problem if you switch browsers like you did now.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, this is system. Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. So at first, I want to walk through what you can actually do with Roam's native hotkeys. So if you go, again, this is the sort of help graph here. If you go to the three dots, again, some of this is very basic, but I just want to touch upon everything. You go to the three dots and you go to the settings menu. You can actually change your hotkeys here as well. And there's a lot that you can change, and there's a lot that we're actually going to simplify and make easier as we walk through here. For instance, toggle block expanded. Again, there's plenty of things that you can actually do natively in the graph. Now, I do need to mention this. If you change your hotkeys in the Roam graph here, it's only going to work in that graph. So if you have multiple graphs, you have to actually go in here and change the hotkeys for each individual graph. That's one of the pains. And again, it is sort of limited because you don't really have access to much. There isn't much customization that you can do if you want to map things specifically to your purposes, your needs. Cool?
Yeah. I mean, that was my first reaction actually when you showed me Keyboard Maestro, and I had left the like all the text expansion snippets behind because I use smart blocks and I work on Roam, but I only work in one graph. So I don't really run into this problem of having to change my keyboard shortcuts or my templates from graph to graph. But now I start to collaborate more with people in graphs, and I think you are probably the best known Roam multiplayer, I would say. So
there's lots of us. There's lots of us.
you gave me new perspective of why would you use a text expansion tool, because I become a little bit skeptical, and I thought, do I need really another tool in my stack? Because I'm very picky when it comes to I love to test out tools, but to really adopt something. And this is one of the tools that I think, you can do a lot of things that will save a lot of time. So I think it's a good point that you make. So it's because Keyboard Maestro, it's not free, it's only for Mac. So what is your alternative? If you don't use Mac, you can still use the built-in shortcut editor, right?
Yes,
so
exactly.
I think that is like it's not a perfect solution, but then again, Keyword Maestro is really good. So there's a price to pay, right? And I tweeted earlier this week. I tweeted, or it was a reply to someone. I said I don't really take Windows seriously as a operating system for knowledge work, and why? And I discovered that it's a little bit my ignorance, because there are some tools that work on Windows, but I've never found them to be as smooth, if that is the right word, or as frictionless. I think frictionless.
Yes. See, and that's one of the main reasons, that I do any of this, is because for me, that little bit of friction, people in the book club know, I've talked about this before, but I had a workflow in regards to capturing a fleeting note, and there was a bit of friction. So basically, I had a shortcut set up where I would have a Siri shortcut that would say, okay, enter the timestamp of the YouTube clip that you're capturing. And the prompt was making me actually verbalize the prompt. And that little bit of friction made me lose the fleeting idea. It was so fast moving. But I figured out that if I typed it in, it was a less mental fatigue. And it just proved to me how important it is to have a frictionless way of doing a lot of things. And again, for me, it's this. These are my tools. And if that's the case, I want to make sure that my hands are always using these to write, to navigate, and to jump and explore. So let me go ahead and walk you through this now. So again, I have the caps lock mapped to the Option Alt key, and the mouse is gonna be in my right hand. And so for me, one of the most important things is this. I'm gonna go to share my screen.
Yeah, but just to chime in a little bit on your point, it's like nowadays, I think there are over 1 billion people who make money just by working with ideas. So they're like, not, knowledge workers. And what tools do you use? So I had a friend who made guitars, and when I lived in Spain, and the guy, when he talked about his tools and like his techniques, there was so much passion there. I thought, ooh, and I think both of us, we are like nerds in our own right, but in a good sense, because we see ourselves as professionals. When we were preparing this, we like
hours.
Yeah, we were thinking, okay, how can we make this work right? Just setting up the tools to stream this. This is the first time that we're streaming something like this. So I think it's so important to emphasize that you are conscious about your tools if you make a living working with information.
Yeah,
or ideas, agree. Any of those things.
I completely agree. So I'm gonna walk you through my preferences. And one of the things for me is, if you look on the keyboard, I like to have the majority of my shortcuts on this half of the keyboard. And there's a reason for that. It's because if I have it on this side of the keyboard, I can hold the caps lock button and I can reach majority of the things here with one hand. And that's the whole idea. Now, I mean, a lot of people play first-person shooter games. I happen to play a lot of Counter-Strike. And so for me, it was ASDW that provided me with forward, back, left, and right. And so what I've done is, utilizing Keyboard Maestro, is I've mapped ASDW as up, down, left, right in regards to going up and down, navigating the blocks. So let me go ahead and show you this. Hopefully you can see, you can't see this. I'm gonna have to share my whole screen here for a second. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna share the entire desktop so you can see what I'm doing here. So now you can see the entire desktop. So what I'm gonna do is this. You're gonna notice inside of here. So if I do caps lock A, I'm moving back. And you'll have the sort of the key caps. It's gonna show you the move that I'm doing. Again, I have caps lock A map to the left arrow. And so again, I'm able to go left and right just using my caps lock and ASDW. And then I can go up a block as well, caps lock W. Caps lock S will bring me down the block, and it's just like, it's the exact same thing. Basically, I'm doing the exact same thing as if I was using the arrow keys. That's what I've done. I've mapped it to the arrow keys, but I have it where it's ASDW, caps lock. By holding down the caps lock key, I can literally go up and down the block without having to move across the keyboard. And that's just one aspect of it. Now, what I also did was I like to go to the beginning of a block and the end of the block really quickly. So if you look at ASDW, what's to the left and right of the W key? You have Q and you have E. Q will take me to the beginning of the block. E will take me to the end of the block. And so watch what I do now. So right now I'm in between T and H right here, right? If I do caps lock Q, I'll automatically go to the beginning of the block. And say I do caps lock E, I'll go immediately to the end of the block. This is gonna be great when I do something like this. When I'm typing latex, and I type in something like latex, if I do caps lock E, I'm already out of the latex block and I can keep writing. Hit escape twice and you'll notice that what it's doing, it's removing that little bit of friction. Because for me to do that, I have to hit the arrow key twice and then I can continue writing. But if I just do caps lock E, it'll take me to the end of the block. And so this is what I'm talking about. It's like cherries. It's cherries on top. But life isn't fair, and we get lots of cherries. Instead of getting one cherry, we get multiple cherries on top. And again, this is just form-fitting to what I needed to do. What other people may need could be different. So that's one aspect of it. Now, what I want to go through next is that's sort of navigating up, down, left, and right. Beginning of the block and end of the block, right? What I want to show you now is...
By the way...
Go ahead. Yeah.
I just had a realization because again, I was skeptical in my mind. I was not skeptical toward you, but I thought, I can do this already with Command and the arrow key. But then I realized, oh wait, but this is one-handed. Like this is one-handed operation, and it feels really minor, but it's less movements,
It is
less friction. So, another realization, man. Thanks.
Yeah, and it's the difference between like a gold medalist and 6th place at the Olympics. I mean, it is the Olympics, so I feel like that matters. And that little bit of difference makes all the difference when you're actually taking writing seriously. And this is what it's all about. And so now, writing in blocks is one thing. The granularity of the block is super powerful, but what happens when you zoom into blocks? And this is what I want to go through next. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. And before I do that, let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit just so everyone can see. And now what I want to do is, you can see, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, now I want to show you the zooming of blocks.
Can you zoom in a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks. Ooh, yeah. Great.
So let me just go over everything first, and then I'll walk you through what I'm doing. So when I do caps lock and spacebar, what it's doing, it's mimicking Control O. If you do Control O, whatever block that you're editing, it'll zoom into that block for focus mode. This is great when you're actually like when you want to focus in on what you're doing. And so it mimics Control O, is caps lock spacebar. Again, all one-handed. Next is going to be caps lock 1. Caps lock 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all going to be in regards to the nesting. So I'm just gonna talk about it first, and then I'll walk you through it. So caps lock 1 is gonna be the same thing as Command Shift comma. which basically takes you, if you're editing a block, it'll bring you up one level. If you're on a child block, it'll take you up to the parent block. Caps Lock 3, or Caps Lock 2, I'm sorry. Caps Lock 1 is gonna go up a parent block. Caps Lock 2 is gonna bring you down a block, or it's gonna bring you down a child block. And then Caps Lock 3 is gonna toggle. So there's a hidden Roam feature called for slideshows where you can toggle the next sibling block. And what I've done is now I have Caps Lock 1, 2, 3, all on one hand, by the way. Caps Lock 1, 2, 3, and 4, but 1, 2, 3 are gonna be primarily navigating the zooming of blocks. Now I'm gonna show you what this looks like. So I'm gonna zoom out here. So basically what I'm gonna do is this. I'm in this block here, expander, right? I'm in this block. Can everyone see this block? You can see that, right? And so what I'm gonna do is if I do Caps Lock 1, okay, it's not doing that. Let me do that again. You know what it is? I think it's a keyboard Maestro setting. Give me 1 second. No. Zoom in the block, Caps Lock space is Control O. Control O. Okay, I was hitting the wrong button, that's why. Okay, so let me try that again. So I'm in this block text expander here, correct? If I do Caps Lock space bar, what it's done is you'll notice how it's gonna show you the key caster here, right? It's gonna show you both the keys. I hit Caps Lock or Option Alt Space, but what it's actually done is Control O. So it makes me zoom into the block. That's Roam's native hotkey. I've just remapped it so it's easier for me, so it's form-fitted to me. Now if I do Caps Lock 1, it's gonna bring me up a block, and you're gonna notice Caps Lock 1, it had Command Shift comma. So Caps Lock 1 again will bring me up a block, bring me up a block. And then if I do Caps Lock 2, if I'm on text expander here and I go Caps Lock 2, it's gonna bring me all the way down a block. But let's say I'm in here and I go Caps Lock 2, no, let's go back in. So I do Caps Lock spacebar to zoom into the block. I go up a block to go, what was the parent block saying again? What was this parent block? And then Caps Lock 2 will bring me down the block, and then it'll bring me down the block. If that makes sense. Yeah. And so now, yeah, I know, this is really cool, isn't it? So let me make it a little bit easier to understand. So say I'm zoomed into this block here, right? And I go into, and I'm in this one, and I'm in focus mode. I do Caps Lock spacebar, zooms me into that block, so I can add more text, add more notes here, and then I do Caps Lock 1 to jump up a block, and now I know where I'm at. Caps Lock 2 will bring me down the block. Caps Lock 1 will bring me down up. If I do Caps Lock 3, it'll toggle me to the next sibling block. And then the next sibling block. And then the next sibling block. And you'll notice how what I'm really doing is now I can keep writing. And the best part about it is then I can just, with one hand, by the way, I can go back up, I can go back down, I can go up, I can go to the beginning of the block, I can go to the end of the block, I can go up, down, left, right, between the block. And say a next sibling, yes.
What this brings to mind is really, and I already see how this came to be because you're the fleeting notes master, and just writing in an indented fashion. So going from progressively indent, so like sentences that together I would say form a paragraph. That's what I've seen people also describe it as. So those just look like paragraphs, but they're like each sentence or each single idea is captured in one bullet, and then the idea that comes after that is like the child block, right? So with this, like I keep fiddling around with my mouse, and you know, this looks really effortless or frictionless, to keep you in your thinking mode and not interrupt with your thinking.
Exactly, and that's really the point of all of this. It's just to keep you in that thinking, concentrated, focused thinking mode as much as possible. I mean, there's so many distractions in this world. Like, I get a Twitter ping, I get an email. It's just too distracting. And if I can just learn how to do this, again, this is form fitted to me. How it's gonna form fit to other people, it's gonna be independent on what they're used to. I remember growing up with ASDW as Counter-Strike, so it was like, I know what that feels like. And I knew that I needed to have something where it was gonna be the simplest for me in regards to my Zettelkasten. And this is what I wanna show you next.
Yeah, wait, can we jump to a few questions first, or
Of course.
do you think it's better to wait for
Well, I do want to mention this. If everyone hangs out to the end of this call, we will. I reached out to Keyboard Maestro and I told him I was going to do this live stream with RoamStack, and I was like, if you want to do like a 5%, 10% discount code, that would be great. The founder got back to me on an email. He's like, we're going to give everyone that shows up to this live stream a 20% off discount for the one-time fee for Keyboard Maestro, which is like $30. So it's like 35 bucks. 20% off of that. And then you got the license key and you can use it forever. It's not like a monthly thing. So I thought that was great. And then, and then also, I'm gonna provide all of my macros where all you need to do is download it, install it, and then you have everything that I'm using. And then you can sort of play with, I mean, listen, I'm not a tech person at all. I figured it out just by playing around with it. And so I'm gonna provide all the macros that we're using today, and I would definitely wait till the end because I'm gonna show you some crazy things you can do when you stack these keyboard shortcuts. But anyways.
Yeah, I think what you just said, it's also a good segue into, because you said, you're not a technical person. You stumbled upon this yourself. I think that's so great because you came to like this ecosystem, I would call it, without preconceived notions. I see often like very technical people in this Roam community. It's becoming broader now. It's not just tech people, but that's basically what it started out with, highly technically proficient people. And they assume many things, and they have just some mental models that like they learned over time. And I think you come to this with a fresh perspective. You think, well, having a 10-step process is not logical for me. I need something frictionless, something simple. I just want to get my ideas out of my head.
Yes.
And we haven't even talked about why you use Roam, right? You use it mostly to learn about screenwriting, like stories.
Story, mythological structure, the Jungian archetypes, and then laying down the thematic patterns that I can't hold in my brain. So I need to put it all down and then connect them in a Zettelkasten.
Yeah.
And it's mind-blowing. Like I'm not the type of person to get passionate about note-taking. But when I discovered what you can actually do with a block-based Zettelkasten, and I don't mean the Zettelkasten that everyone gets wrong. I'm talking about straight from Sonke, I'm talking straight from Lumen, taking those concepts and then applying them, not bringing over, copy-pasting the analog slipbox. No, I'm talking about seeing that this is a note-taking system and going, Roam is a note-taking tool for networked thought, putting those two things together, but not, like you said, bringing along with it all of those preconceived mental models. I'm coming at it with, I'm not a tech person at all, but I understand what you can do with a block.
Yeah.
And the power of a block.
Yeah. Hey, and so you've just shown a few shortcuts, to navigate. I think, and I interrupted you a little bit early. I saw later in the outline, you wanted to show a few more things, but Tracy asked, how do you recommend implementing something like this? So did you have a big bang change where you changed your entire thing, or did it grow over time? She asked, how do you go over it?
My suggestion is always going to be this, and again, this is based on what Sonke talks about as well. It's keep it as simple as possible. And when I needed it, that's when I sought it out. When I needed a little bit more complexity, or when a little bit more complexity arose, that's when I sought out a solution to solve that problem. And I was writing notes and I realized that I didn't like having to use both hands on the keyboard to navigate. I wanted to be able to do that with one hand, and I realized that that was just the thing that I needed at the time. And I sought out all the different tools, I tested them out, and then this one just happened to be the one that I was able to do the most with. And that wasn't too confusing. It is a little confusing, but if you can make a Roam 42 block, a smart block, you can do a keyboard macro, Maestro macro. And you know, another thing is this, like for instance, like it all started with something as simple as this. What I really wanted was I wanted to be able to go back to my daily notes page quickly. And I didn't want to do, like, if this is, say I'm in my permanent notes page, right? And I'm just going through all my notes. I didn't want to go to this and then click on this. And listen, there is a shortcut key. There is a hotkey to do like Command-Shift-T or D or something like that that'll take me to the daily notes page. But I wanted something faster with less friction. So what I did was caps lock T. One-handed, caps lock T will take me straight to the daily notes page. Nice. And again, this is what I needed. And so that was probably the very first instance where I was just like, man, I wish there was a faster way to do this one thing. And that's where it started. And then I was like, well, can I navigate? Can I zoom? What else can I do? And this is where it gets very interesting because you can do so much with this. And I kind of want to, is there any other questions before I go into this? Because there's something where we're going to start going into window arrangements.
All right. Okay. Let's see, because the chat is coming alive, so I need to filter. Maybe if you have a question, just to make it easier for me, just write question in front of it, and then I'll be able to look for it. But let's see. Looks like you have some fans, Beau, in the chat. So
we're all in this together, honestly. And you know, there is one thing I want to show you. And this, again, well, how much time do we have left, by the way? I mean, we've been going on for about 40 minutes here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have time. So
okay,
this will be available later for replay. So yeah. But let's go.
Let me walk through a little bit about how this works. So some of the settings actually in Keyboard Maestro. So now what I've done is I'm gonna go and share my screen. This is actually Keyboard Maestro's sort of settings menu. So you open up Keyboard Maestro and this is what you're gonna see. It's a little confusing, I understand. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna provide this RoamStack sort of macro folder. And what you do is you just download it from, I'm sure we'll upload it to like a Dropbox or something. You download it and then you install it. And what you'll do is once you install it, you have to sort of you have to enable. So let me go ahead and do this actually. I'm gonna go ahead and, oops, let me not do that actually. I'm gonna create a new folder and let's just call this test upload. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, let's see if this works. No, it's not gonna work. Okay. I think you get what I'm saying. So basically you're gonna, let me get rid of this one. You're gonna get this folder. Inside that folder, you're gonna have all of the different macros. So that was super confusing. I'm sorry about that. Again, it'll be in the description. It'll be a Dropbox file or something. You download that and then you enable it by right-clicking here, enable the macro group. And then from there, I'm just gonna walk you through how I actually created this. So arrows like a game. What I did was, this is gonna be triggered by this hotkey, and then it executes this keystroke, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
I do
So
this. Yeah, go ahead.
so what you say is at the top it says the hotkey you're going to press. But in this case, obviously, it says Option S because you've remapped your caps lock. And
Yes.
then you can define what other, let's see, do I understand it? Yeah, what other key is actually virtually pressed, so to say.
Yes. And
You're
so
like creating an alias for keystrokes.
exactly. And again,
Yeah.
this you have so many different actions that you can actually do. So, for instance, arrow's like a game. So this is it's gonna simulate the keystroke down arrow whenever I do caps lock S. But then you can also make it do just about anything that you can do on your Mac. This is what's crazy because it is hooked into the actual operating system, like into what Mac can do. You can actually have it where this is only gonna happen if I hit this plus marker here, right? And I go application trigger, and this well, you can actually have, I don't wanna walk you through it because it's gonna get too technical. You can basically have it where if you hit caps lock S, it only works if Roam is open. And if it's not open, if you do caps lock S, it's not gonna do anything. So you can basically enable it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have application specific
Yes.
shortcuts. So
exactly.
you can oh yeah, that's very, because I was thinking, how many shortcuts can you have before you run out? But if it's application specific, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to go into the technical details. Again, I'm not super technical. So for me, it's, I figured out the most easiest way of doing it. I was like, oh, okay, type the down arrow keystroke, simulate keystroke. Okay, simple. But I do want to show you some of the crazy things that you can do with it. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go and stop sharing. I'm going to go and share my entire desktop now. And this is what's interesting. Because what I can do is, again, this is my desktop. If I do caps lock escape, I have a menu that's I programmed with Keyboard Maestro. And I have 3 different things that I can do. And let's say I wake up in the morning, and yeah, this is called RoamStack, by the way. This is a RoamStack.
You have no idea how many people have been asking me about this, and I've some coaching clients, like more than 2, have offered me money if I could find them a tool that would arrange this window. So I will give you the finder's fee.
Just wait what you can do, okay? So I have 3 different ones. I'm gonna start with the very first one here. The first one is gonna be morning workspace. Say you wake up in the morning and you're like, you know what? Let me fire off this hotkey, which is caps lock escape, and I'm gonna do morning workspace. I hit enter and watch what happens.
Good morning.
Well, it opened it up on the wrong window.
Oh.
So it's gonna say, good morning. Are you ready for your morning template? If I hit continue, let's see what happens.
Frictionless.
I'm just gonna let that settle. I want that to sink real quick.
Dude.
And again, this, yeah. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what I just did. And I'm gonna do it again one more time, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and, let me just keep that here for now. And I'm just gonna do caps lock escape bar, and I'm gonna do morning workspace. It's gonna open a new Roam window. It's gonna have a little pop-up that goes, this is Keyboard Maestro, are you ready for your morning template? I hit the continue button, and it automatically types in the template into my Roam graph. Perfect. And I can make this, and this is just a Roam template that I just used. Like, I could have it say anything. I could have it, right? This is basically, I just had it type that in. Again, I don't want to get into the technical aspects of how you actually do it. I'm going to provide all the macros where you can go in there and fiddle around with it and see how you can play with it. Again, it's not always perfect, but it's pretty cool what you can do. Now, That's number one. Let me go through. Juan is saying hell yeah. Okay, let me show you the number two thing. Caps lock escape. And now what I'd like to do is something called office hours. So say, okay, you got your morning workspace done, and say you're going into the office, and now you're ready to start your office, and you have a certain couple of windows that you want open. I go to office hours, I hit enter, and it basically opens up your workspace how you want it with the windows, and you're getting rickrolled.
I love it.
And so basically what I wanted was I wanted to have the Roam help database here. I also wanted to have the outline for today. And then I also wanted Twitter open as well as Rick Astley singing Never Gonna Give You Up. Now here's the crazy part. You can actually have specific blocks open because the granularity happens at the block in Roam, right? So if I go into this block here, it gives me a URL that'll open this block specifically, right? But what happens if I go in here and say I click on this block here? You see how I'm inside this block? Because the block has a UID, if I copy this URL and I paste that URL, guess what is going to be shown? It only shows that entire block. And this is what I'm talking about, because say you have a specific block that you type into every day, and you don't want to go open your Roam and have to find where it is, but you know exactly what that block is. If you paste that block URL, it'll open it to that block where you want it, and guess what? You're ready to type. And guess what? Caps Lock 1 will bring you up. Caps Lock 2 will bring you down. Caps Lock spacebar zooms you into the block.
But
Again,
this really shows the power also of Roam, I would say. And
yes,
I often get the question, when do I create a page for something? And I say, don't. you use links. You use links to link ideas. And, you know, if you having the link references, it's nice, but it's not necessary, because you can reach every block, and as you can see, you can tie automations to a block because every block has a unique address. And I think once you really grasp that, then your way of thinking starts to change, how you interact with Roam.
Yes.
So I just want to emphasize that every block has a URL, unique URL. So that has some more implications for when true multiplayer will become available, because then you can grab blocks from other graphs. But this is already so cool how you can stack processes on top of a block address, for example.
Yeah.
And once I realized this, I do have pages, but they're all collections of, for example, for RoamStack, I have one single page, and everything I do, all the content I create for RoamStack is on that page. But it doesn't matter, because when I create a to-do, I say work on this, I don't have to link to a page. I just link to the block. And then I just click that block, and I have my entire context. So I don't know. I just love this frictionless way of reaching a very specific area of your graph. So I just want to emphasize that.
You know, Brett asked, hey Beau, will these workspace shortcuts transfer seamlessly to a Chrome-based space versus Safari? Let me walk you through what I did on Keyboard Maestro real quick. Because what I did, I actually didn't have it open Roam or Safari. What I did was I have it set, let me show you here. This is gonna be custom menu office hours, right? I have it set to front browser window with URL, and it'll open whatever setting that you have set to your web browser, it'll open that. So if you use Chrome, it'll open that. If you use Brave and you set that in your settings, like in your system preferences for your Mac, it'll show that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so again, and all the windows in regards to where it goes, Like you can have, I have another tool called Better Snap Tool, which same thing, hotkeys will snap you to different parts of the window, right? You can do the same thing with Keyboard Maestro. So basically Keyboard Maestro, you get rid of Better Snap Tool, you can do it all with Keyboard Maestro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I use Moom, which is
Yeah.
an alternative, but I think it's almost as expensive as Keyboard Maestro.
Yeah. And it's
So-
it's like, so for instance, if I do caps lock 1 or command 1, it'll snap it to that side. If I do command 2, it'll snap it to the other side. This, I can do this, and now it's like I've got double screen. Again, it's so interesting what is capable. This is kind of meta here, isn't it? It's so interesting what is capable with this little tool, but we're not done yet. There's more. You ready for the next one?
I do have one question
Yes.
which came through the chat, and I also wonder, it's not possible to feed a URL into Roam's desktop app yet, right? So you will, if you want to link to a specific block,
Yes.
you will need to use your browser for now.
I believe so. Yeah, again, it's the only time I use the desktop app is when I have a really large graph, like any of the Roam Book Club graphs. But on my personal graph, I actually much prefer Safari or a web browser. Because again, I don't...
I know.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, but the reason for that is, again, it's frictionless. I don't want to have to wait for the desktop app to load. You know, I have Safari open all the time, and I like the fact that I'm mindful of what I put into my Roam database too, like in my Roam graph. I don't just link everything. I don't just throw everything in there. No, there's a certain way that happens, so it's very frictionless. I don't want to wait 10 minutes to wait for my Roam graph to load. And again, can I show you the next part though?
Yeah. I'm just thinking also about the Safari over the desktop, and I know what I said. I know, but I think that's because you said you also like to use the spell check, right? The
Yes.
browser. So it makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Let's continue.
Okay, so this next part, you might want to be sitting down. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. By the way, there's like summer school happening right now, so there's like kids everywhere. Hopefully it's not too loud. But for this next part, I think you might want to sit down because this one's really cool. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go and share my desktop here, and you can see the desktop, correct?
Let me check. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, again, it's Zettelkasten is the most important thing, right? And say I'm reading an article, Christopher Alexander's A City Is Not a Tree. And I'm reading, I'm like, oh, I like this. I really like this idea. And I go, what if there was a shortcut for this? What if I created a shortcut that form-fitted to what I needed? And I do caps lock escape, and now I've got my little menu bar, and I go, Zettelkasten template with OCR. Interesting. And I hit enter. I got a little menu bar. Again, I created this little alert inside of Keyboard Maestro, right? Just so I can demonstrate it. It says, select and highlight the text that you want to capture, and this will take a screenshot, so be sure to frame above and below the highlight. So that's step one. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go and hit continue, and now I've got a little arrow. You see this little arrow? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight this text here, and I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Interesting. As soon as I do that, I get another little menu. And now it says copy, select and copy the URL. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to copy this URL. And I'm just following the directions here, and I go continue. And so now, what's going on? So it's opened up a page in my Roam graph that I specified. And then now it says capture your fleeting notes, enter into the block and edit and then hit continue. So what I'm gonna do is, this is my staging area for all my captured fleeting notes. So I'm gonna hit enter one time because I'm gonna create a new one. And then I go, okay, now I've fulfilled what the alert told me to do. And now I'm gonna hit continue. Let's see what happens. Interesting. What it's done, it's pasted. Let's just take a look at what it's done. it's pasted the URL with an alias link following the simple Zettelkasten structure, right? And now it's going, what's the quote? And so what is this alert saying? The next step will paste the text into one block, right? So now I'm at the end of quote. I'm going to hit continue, paste, and look at that. That's interesting, isn't it? It's pasted. Again, this is going to be crazy, but now what it's saying is this. It's pasted, let me just walk you through what it did. It pasted the OCR from the article, right? Let me go back to this menu. And then what it's done, it's opened up this little clipboard history switcher, which we'll talk about at the very end. And now I'm gonna go look for the image here. So I'm gonna make sure I'm in screenshot here. I'm gonna right click on this. I'm gonna paste the image from Keyboard Maestro, and look what happens inside of Roam. Look at that. It uploaded the image. Nice. The screenshot, the OCR capture, right? And so once I'm done with that, right click, image, right? Gonna go to the end of the block here. It says right click on the image, paste image, continue. It's running a macro. Literature notes, fleeting notes, done. And so now I'm ready to write. Let's capture. And if I close this, let me just review what this little shortcut did. What it did was it pasted the URL from my clipboard into the source, right? Then it's given me the OCR that uses Tesseract OCR with Keyboard Maestro. It pasted the OCR. Again, I can go back in here, I can fix it, whatever I need to do. It also gave me a screenshot of the actual text from the article. And then it fulfilled the rest of the sort of simple lightweight structure that I use for Zettelkasten, where I can just capture my fleeting note now.
I wonder if you could even automate this further.
You can. You can have it do anything you want it to do. Anything that you can do with a keyboard and a mouse and clicking on anything, you can make it happen.
Yeah, I love this. I'm having a look at the chat.
Why is a screenshot and OCR important for Beau? It's so I can, basically what I'm doing is I can leave these captured notes in my captured page in this staging area, and I don't have to come back to this that night. I can come back to this captured note next week, next month. If I do a good enough job capturing this information, I have all of my resources, so when I go back and process these notes and add it to my Zettelkasten, I have the source material, I have the OCR, I also have the screenshot, and I have my fleeting notes. All in that simple structure the indented structure that I want and that I sort of have systematized.
I think the question was probably also, why would you like to have a screenshot with something?
This is just what I prefer. You can do it however you want.
Yeah.
Right? But the whole idea is...
yeah. Like, my head is already spinning thinking, ooh, like, my process is, and I also wrote this in today's RoamStack newsletter, this is, for me, this is like game film for knowledge work. So we are looking at you doing your thing. So you are giving like a showcase of your process, and we get to learn from it. Yeah. For you, exactly. So what I want to really also again emphasize, I keep emphasizing things, but it's just because, you know, I do RoamStack onboardings, and then having talked with over 40 people one-on-one, I keep the same things hearing over and over again, and everyone is saying, "Oh yeah, but just tell me what I need to do." And I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to show you what I do, and then you can ask me some questions, maybe about why I do certain things, or maybe how I would do some things differently. But ultimately, you need to look at things like this and already think for yourself, what is it that I can do with this? Instead of copying you, try to think of something that really is not frictionless for you currently, that you do repeatedly, and try to automate that. So that is really, I think, one of the key takeaways of this session is learn from people like Beau, but then try to come up with your own system. And then if you really want to be a nice person, teach it to others. So we get like a feedback loop.
You know, Chris is asking, why doesn't a link to the original source suffice? And one of the reasons that I prefer having as much information that I can, let me go ahead and show you my own, like this was demonstration purposes in regards to the OCR and how you actually do it. But let me go ahead and show you an actual captured fleeting note from my Zettelkasten. Let me go ahead and find which one it is. Let's go to this one. Okay. So can you see this screen?
Check, yes.
Yeah. So if I go to, say, captured books here, right? What I want is all of this information. And this information is basically this gives me enough information that I've captured enough of the aha moment so I can come back to this later when I'm ready to start processing this. And again, the reason for this is because we are inundated with information overload. And I look at it like, if I can go back when I'm ready to work on something, it's almost like what Nicholas Luhmann did. It's like Nicholas Luhmann didn't actually start processing his notes. If he didn't want to do it and write a note, he didn't do it. He would go for a walk. He would go have dinner. He would do something else. But when I'm ready to work, I have basically this. So let me go and zoom out real quick. Let me just show you what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna shift click on captured books, right? I'm gonna do my shortcut for caps lock T. I'll go straight to my daily notes page. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. So when I'm ready to work, I do current time, right? And by the way, I have another shortcut here too. Look at that. So say I don't like how Roam does their current time. I set up a keyboard Maestro where I do /TIME, and look what it does. It creates that. Because that's how I like my formatting. And then basically what I do is this. See these notes that are sort of in my staging area? When I'm ready to work, I bring this over as a child block. And now everything is nested underneath there. And now I zoom into this block by hitting caps lock spacebar. And now I'm zoomed into the block. You see that? I'm gonna go and close this. And what I'm doing now is I'm narrowing my focus to get ready to work. And so now I'm ready to work. What do I have? I have the quote. Imagine that was the OCR. I have the screenshot, which gives me a lot more context in regards to what this is about. And then I've also got my fleeting notes here. So now I'm ready to work. I'm ready to go in here and start processing these fleeting notes. How? Clicking on this. And now I go, boom. I break this up. I break this up. And I break this up. And now I'm ready to sort of, again, caps lock spacebar. I'm zoomed into the block. Now I can just type and think and write, right? And then once I'm done with this, what do? Caps lock 3 toggles to the next block, right? And it's the same thing. I go in here, I type and write and think. And then same thing, caps lock 3. It toggles the next block. So what I'm basically doing is I'm toggling all of these parent level blocks, but what I'm doing is I'm allowing myself to go in here and think and write by using the blocks. Again, and the reason, and if I do caps lock 1, I can jump out of the block or jump up a block. The reason I have this screenshot, the more information that I have, the better, so I don't need to leave what I'm doing. So if I had just the URL, for instance, if I just had this URL, or if I just had this, I would have to open this, I would have to find it, I have to go, where was it again? But if I take a screenshot, and I have the text there, and I have the URL if I need it, then, I hope this is answering your question, Chris, by the way. And then I can do all of my work inside of Roam. And if I do shift, say this screenshot here, or say this quote here, I have this in the sidebar, right? And I jump back into this and I just keep writing. I jump back into this and I just keep writing. Let's go back up a block, right? I just keep writing. And guess what? I can write here, write and think and think and think. And then here's the deal. If I forgot what I was writing about, I have the quote in the sidebar. I don't have 10 different sidebars, mind you. I have one. Because context switching ruins flow state, in my opinion. I have one thing that I need. I have my quote here. I can zoom up to the block. I've got the quote. I've got the actual screenshot if I need to look at it to get a little bit more context. And I can just keep writing. And then again, caps lock 3. I toggle up to the top. Caps lock 1 goes back up a block. Caps lock 1 goes back up a block. Once I get my fleeting notes done, I go back into my literature notes. Caps lock spacebar. Now I'm ready to write literature notes. Yeah, you don't want to leave Roam. And again, this is sort of my workflow that I needed. And, you know, again, and then the last thing that I'm going to touch upon is the fact that you also have your entire clipboard history available, which is amazing. Which basically means that I can go and if I, forgot what I wrote, then I can go back into my, let me go and share that screen real quick. Actually, I don't think it's going to show my clipboard history then, huh? Or look, I'll do it on my desktop. How about that? You can see this though, yeah? It's not going to be super big, but basically this has my entire clipboard history of everything. Everything, I think it goes back 200 different things that you've typed. These are all just testing. I was doing testing last night. It has the timestamp, and I can paste this as an image. I can set this to the clipboard now, so I can make this the now clipboard. I can go down. I can, and it's just amazing what this little tool can do. But again, it's one of those things where I have it form fitted to what I need it to do. And that's really what I want people to get out of this entire talk is I'm not telling you what you need to do. No, this is just what I needed it to do. And I found a solution that form fitted to what I needed. And hopefully I can provide you with enough resources with, a 20% discount code, this live stream, also the macros itself. And also the Keyboard Maestro community is amazing. They have a great forum where you just ask, hey, how do I do this? And they'll answer and they'll give you like examples. They'll give you macros. You just download the macro, add it to your Keyboard Maestro list, and then you just enable it and you have it. You can play around with it. That's how I learned how to do it. And so yeah. Thank you.
Ramses. I love this, man. I love this. Yeah. I'm a little bit silent because like I said, my head is spinning with ideas. I cannot help it. And actually I am, and I know you don't use smart blocks, but I'm actually working on a smart block that will open up the quote in the sidebar for you. And then hopefully, so what I also saw some people compare this to is Workbench. So within smart blocks, there's this feature set called Workbench. And basically you can program what pages and what blocks you want to open where. So for example, you can run a smart block that will open up maybe a journaling prompt, a random journaling prompt in the sidebar, and then opens up in the main window a writing area, maybe a specific page that you dedicate to your entries, or maybe it will take you to your daily notes page. And this is basically Workbench for your OS, for your operating system. So, I'm really
really
Workbench looking forward to. Yeah.
Is Workbench text based? Because you have to type in the text, right?
Yeah. So exactly. So it's a.
I think you can. I think you can combine it with Workbench because basically what you can do is you can
have
actually
a shortcut that triggers a snippet of text.
Yeah. And then you can actually you can have it mimic like a menu bar, and you can like it's crazy what you can do. You can mimic a mouse click.
Yeah.
And you can and if you can access a menu on Workbench, I'm getting chills right now. If you access a menu on Workbench, you can have it go up, down, choose it, hits enter, simulates the hardware key enter, then it'll run it. You can have it pause for 10 seconds as it runs, then it continues the next action where it runs another macro, open up, a Spotify playlist, and then you can have another Roam window open. You can toggle do not disturb. You can do a lot.
Dude,
it's a RoamStack. That's what it is.
This is a RoamStack, exactly. So I'm so happy to have you here and demonstrating this. And I already know one of my coaching clients who will be elated because he records instructional videos for a living. So he's a teacher, and then he has this workflow, and I've been working with him to refine his workflow and really gain clarity about what are the steps that you have to take, and what apps do you have to open, what can you shave off, and then he has it dialed in, but he still is like, well, I need 10 minutes before I can record something, because he uses OBS to record, and then he needs to open Roam for a script, and then he needs to open on another screen, he needs to open the programming environment he's going to screen cast. And with this, he can hit a key, one click, and it opens up like 10 minutes reduced to 1 second.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Okay. Yeah. Let's have a look at the chat.
Yeah. And again, all the macros will be provided. The discount code is RoamStack. If you go to Keyboard Maestro, the discount code is just RoamStack. 20% off. 20% off. All the macros, I already sent it off to you. So, and they also have a trial too. So you don't even have to purchase it. You can do I think it's a 30-day trial. And everything works. It's a fully functioning Keyboard Maestro. Sign up for the trial. You can download all the macros that I'm providing for today. Take a look around. See how you can mess around with it. Again, it's a little hacked together, but it's also good that way, because what I need to use it for is going to be different than what you need to use it for.
Yeah.
And the only way to have it that freedom is to have it just open. And that's really what it is. And it's just interesting what you can do. You can do if and statements. You can do, if you do this, then I'll do this. If not, you can do window focus things too. If Safari's open, then it'll do it. You can do the shortcut. If you have, say, Spotify open or Google Mail open or Superhuman open, then it'll do that. And there's just so many things that you can do with it.
I love it, dude. It's and Chris says, I love the passion. Yeah, but I think it's also, we're not geeking out because of the tools, right? We're geeking out because it's to solve real life problems. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to show, but I think this is a really good point to leave on a high note, right?
Yeah.
And let's see if there are any questions, and if not, just some. You
can DM me on Twitter if anything.
Yeah,
I'm always available.
So you can be found at Beau Haan, just your name. On Twitter, that's your Twitter handle. And then there will be also like an edited recording of this screen cast or the session, and I will edit the description once we go live with the edited version of this video. And again, I will put it in all the macros. I will also put it in the RoamStack newsletter. So go to RoamStack.com if you're not already a newsletter subscriber. It's free. Beau, anything you want to share?
Yeah, I think I just want to end with this. I mean, you were talking about, why am I so passionate about this? And here's the thing. I've seen people transform as they write in a frictionless writing tool. And to me, anything that gets in the way of that writing if we can shave down all the things, all the friction that gets in the way of that writing, I don't know who, like, better thinking is associated with better writing. Better writing is better thinking. Better thinking, better decisions. Better decisions, better actions. Better actions, better habits. Better habits, better life. You know? And it's just, if we can just keep, I just feel like there's a wave that's happening right now. And if we can just keep encouraging each other to explore the last the last fortress that remains in this world is this. And I feel like we have an opportunity right now to explore this. And writing is essential for that. And frictionless writing helps. So with that, thank you, Ramses.
No, thank you. And people, if you want to learn more from Beau in the future, probably, maybe, but probably, he'll be hosting Rome Book Club again. And that is basically a free transformational experience, free in the monetary sense, because you do have to show up. I've done it. I've showed up every day for 1 hour because it took 1 hour to write. Just my feeling notes, and getting into the groove of externalizing what's in your mind. And actually, it's not just externalizing, it's for me, it's a discovery process. It's you as you think out loud, you go deeper, and I can talk about this for hours. So thank you, man.
Thank you again. Thank you to everyone that showed up. Again, if you have any questions, shoot me a DM on Twitter at Beau Haan, and you guys are awesome. Thank you, Ramses.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.